regardless of what you have accomplished, regardless of your successes, regardless of the things that you treasure, I come to suggest that if you are inhaling and exhaling, God is not finished with you yet. I tell them at Rice Chapel, God did not just make you to make up a number, but he had a purpose for your life. And the old church used to say that when my mission work is done, I'll lay my armor down, I'll stick my sword in the sands of time and study war no more. And so while we're yet here, while we're yet on this journey of life, I come to suggest that even regardless of your age, the Lord is not finished with you yet. Have I got a witness? My brothers and my sisters, no one knows the agenda of God but God. God knows your future. God knows your destiny. God is not finished with you yet. My brothers and sisters, you have no need to go to a soothsayer or have your palm read, because God is the only one that knows your agenda. Are y'all gonna pray with me? Yes. So I come to suggest this morning that if you're going to reach the level to where God wants you to be, you need to make sure that you are in the will of the Lord. Here in our text this morning, these verses are taken from the Thanksgiving section of Paul's letter to the church at Philippi. My brothers and my sisters, from day to day, we put our confidence in various people. If we go to Wendy's, buy a hamburger, we don't take it home and put it under a microscope. We trust the cooks. We trust the beef inspectors. We trust the people who have made the buns. When we become ill and go to the doctor and get an examination, we trust that the doctor is going to write the right prescription. We take it to the pharmacist and we trust that the pharmacist is going to fill it according to the doctor's orders. If we are riding, we have been picked up by Uber or by Lyft, we trust the driver. Y'all gonna pray with me? That he's gonna take us to our destination. But in the text this morning, here is a man that has his confidence in God. Because he is in prison, he's now under house arrest, chained to a ball. Does not exclude the fact that he still has confidence in God. Matter of fact, his confidence enables him to rejoice even in his present situation. Are y'all praying with me? In other words, regardless of your situation, you should never lose your confidence in God. He says here in verse number 3, he said, I thank my God. Thank him for what? He said, I thank him, number one, for the memories. Every remembrance of you. I thank God for the memories. I believe Paul here in the text is thinking about happier times when he was able to fellowship with this church at Philippi. He said, I thank God for the memories. My brothers and sisters, memory plays a big part in our lives. I can stand here this morning 50 plus years old and memory can take me back to my home that I grew up in. Memory can let me remember playing with my sisters and brothers. Memory can cause me to remember hot water cornbread. And memory can cause me to remember mama and pinto beans. Somebody in here know what I'm talking about. Memory plays an important part in our lives. even at the death of a loved one, memory, help me somebody, can enable us to keep on carrying on. Paul here says, I thank my God for the memories. Yes, my brothers and my sisters, we must learn to remember to remember. And then sometime we got to remember to forget. He says, I thank my God upon every remembrance of you. And then he says, always in prayer, a mind making my requests for you to God. Paul here is saying to them that I'm praying for you. Even though I'm under house arrest, I cannot come visit you physically. He wanted them to know I'm still praying for you. Anybody here remember that song, Somebody Prayed for Me? Had me on their mind. Took the time and prayed for me. I'm so glad they prayed. So glad they prayed for me. Paul tells this Philippian church that I'm in prayer for you. Every time I go down on my knees, I thank God for you. But then he says, I'm praying and I'm thankful for the fellowship. Fellowship in the gospel. Fellowship meant participation. Fellowship here in the text meant that they had supported him in the midst of his trials. Fellowship here in the text suggests that even though he's in prison, this small Philippian church never forgot about him. Are y'all praying with me? They stood by him. They sent money to support him, even in prison. I know fellowship don't mean a whole lot now. Just we come to church and shake a few hands, few pats on the back, yeah, few smiles and hugs, then we go home. Wait until next Sunday. Paul says to this Philippian church, you've always been there for me. Says, I have never had any reason to doubt you. And I wonder this morning, Macedonia, can Currie say that about you? That you've always been there for him. He has no reason to doubt that you'll be there for him. He says in verse number 6, being confident of this very thing. That's why I want to stick a pin and I'll bid you good afternoon. That he who has begun a good work in you shall continue it until the day of Jesus Christ. I noticed something, Currie, here in the text. I noticed in the text, first thing I noticed is that he does not mention God in the verse. He says he who has begun this good work. Yeah, if you read the text, you notice the pronoun here, the closest antecedent to the pronoun he is found in verse number 3. He says, I thank my God. Yeah, so the he in verse number 6 is the God in verse number 3. He said to them, I thank God. I'm confident that God is going to take care of you. I'm just looking through Philippians chapter 2, verse 13, he said, for it is God who worketh in you both to will and to do his pleasure. Chapter 4, verse number 19, y'all know this one, but my God shall supply all of your needs according to his riches in glory. I just believe here Paul was talking about God. He says, not only that, but look at this word began. He says, I'm confident began. When we look at this word began here in the text, he's not talking about a 24-hour period. Paul is talking about from the very first day that he landed in Philippi. Yeah, in order to understand this, you have to take a rerun back to Acts chapter 16. Paul and Silas and Luke set sail out on the sea. Yes, Paul has a vision of a man who says, come over to Macedonia. Come over there and help us. So Paul, Silas, Timothy, and Luke set sail out of Troas, land in the seaport city of Neapolis. Walked 10 miles inward by the riverside. Paul preaches the gospel and Lydia was saved. Can I stick a pen there and tell you she was at church, but she wasn't saved. She was praying, but she wasn't saved. She was worshiping. Y'all will get it after a while. But she was not saved. Paul preaches the gospel and Lydia is saved. Goes on into town. He finds in the streets of Philippi a fortune teller who is converted. Paul did not cast her away, but he cast what was operating in her. Y'all will catch that on the way home. He didn't throw the girl away, but he rebuked what was operating in the girl. Sometimes, Sister Mabel, the church does more to drive folk away than they do to draw folk in. I think the Holy Ghost is going to help me in here. We got to be careful if we're going to save and be an instrument of God to save others. If we're going, the church is going to save and be an instrument to save prostitutes, then you got to let them come with short dresses on. Are y'all praying with me? If you're going to save the alcoholic, you got to be willing to smell a little bud. Got to be willing to smell some Crown. I wish I had somebody praying with me. He does not cast the girl away, but he casts out of the girl the spirit that is operating in her. And because of his good work, Paul and Silas thrown in jail. Paul preaches the gospel after an earthquake, and the jailer is saved. Paul says to them, I'm thankful to God from the first day, even until now. My brothers and sisters, what I notice is that Paul does not take the credit, but he gives the credit to God. Have I got a witness? I heard, the late Reverend Dr. Collins say that it just ain't no telling what God will do when you don't mind who get the credit. Have I got a witness? The problem with so many of us, we want the pat on the back. We want the praise. We want the glory. And the Lord straightened us out on that in the model prayer. Because in the model prayer, it said, thine is the kingdom. Thine is the glory. And I asked how long, it says forever. Are y'all praying with me? So Paul here says, I'm confident that the Lord will be with you. He who has begun this good work in you, he said he'll perform it until the day of Jesus Christ. And I know you've been reminded, but the Lord is on his way back. Yeah, the first time he came to die. The second time he's coming to raise the dead. First time he came from the womb of a woman. But the second time he's coming riding on a cloud. First time he came as a servant. But the second time he's coming as King of Kings. First time he came as a good shepherd. But the next time he's coming to separate the sheep from the goats. Yeah, give me just a little time. Give me just a little time. He's coming back. He said, being confident this very thing that he has begun a good work shall continue it until the day of Jesus Christ. So my brothers, My sisters, I ask myself the question, why is he so confident? Did he live in a different world that we live in? Did he live without any trouble or any pain? Was he exempt from trials and tribulations? Did he live in some glass, free house? But when I look at Philippians chapter 1, verse 28, it tells me that they had their adversities. They were living in the midst of a crooked and perverse generation. He said in chapter 3, verse 18, that there were some enemies of the cross. Well, that excludes that. But then my second concern is, were they some super Christians? Were they self-sufficient? Were they stronger than we are? Were they better than we are? The answer is no, they are not any better. So what is Paul basing his confidence on? Two things, and I bet you. Good afternoon. Number one, he said, I'm confident. Because God's reputation is on the line. Are y'all praying with me? I said God's reputation is on the line. The language of the Old Testament uses the word for his name's sake. That's what David says in Psalm 23. He said that the Lord is blessing me for his name's sake. He says the Lord is taking care of me because his name is on the line. Are y'all praying with me? Look at what David says in Psalm 23. He says, I'm grazing in green pastures. Am I good enough? But he does it for his name's sake. He said, I'm drinking from still waters. Do I really deserve it? The answer is no. But he does it for his name's sake. He said, my soul is restored. Am I better than anybody else? No. The Lord does it for his name's sake. He says, I'm walking in straight paths. Am I righteous? He said, no, he does it for his name's sake. I'm going to get out of here, Macedonia, but I'm glad that the Lord don't wait on me to get good enough for him to bless me. Have I got a witness? Out of all of my faults, out of all of my failures, out of all of my mistakes, the Lord still blesses me for his name's sake. Have I got a witness? Let me just go here for a moment. You see, I grew up in the country, and growing up as a boy, we had to go to the field and pick cotton. Now, I know this Chinese to some of these young folk, but some of y'all know what I'm talking about. It was 13 in our family. I was number 12 out of the 13. And so I really didn't go to pick cotton. I went to play. Have I got a witness? I went to ride on the sack. Y'all know what I'm talking about. But when we got home and my mama got ready to set the table, there was a plate on the table for everybody. Those that had picked 200 pounds had a plate on the table. Those who had picked no cotton like me had a plate on the table. And the reason why we had a plate on the table, my daddy's name was on the line. Are y'all praying with me? The world was going to judge my daddy based upon how well he took care of his children. I'm going to get out of here, y'all. He said, don't give up on your confidence in the Lord. Paul said, I got my confidence in God, not in the boss, but in under God, not in the White House, but I got it in God. Is y'all praying with me? The reason why he got his confidence there is because God's name is on the line. But here's the second reason that I believe that that the Lord is going to bless you, Currie, and bless Macedonia, it's because God has a good track record. Have I got a witness? Whatever the Lord starts, he always finishes. Are y'all praying with me? I was just thumbing through the Old Testament, and I looked at in the book of Exodus when Israel was leaving out of Egypt. The Bible says that the dogs didn't even bark, and their shoes didn't wear out. I kept on looking 40 years in the wilderness, and their clothes didn't wear out. Have I got a witness? Moses led them, marched them across the Jordan River, kicked down the walls of Jericho, and settled them into the land of Canaan. I'm out of here, y'all, but I believe that the Lord is going to take care of you because he got a good track record. Anybody here know about Jesus? One Friday they lifted him high, they stretched him wide, they pierced him in the side, they put him in a borrowed tomb. Is he still there? He got up early Sunday morning. Is that right? Went on back to his father, sat down at the right hand of his father. I don't know about you, but I got my confidence in the Lord. The same God that started with you, Macedonia, the same God that done kept you a whole year. He's able to keep on blessing you. I'm out of here, but I heard the songwriter saying, my hope is built on nothing less than Jesus' blood and righteousness. I dare not trust the sweetest fame, but wholly lean on Jesus' name. On Christ, the solid rock I stand. The ground is sinking sand. Is there anybody here know Jesus? Is there anybody here got your confidence in the Lord? I'm out of here, Macedonia. Thank you, Currie. Yeah, we can not see in the future, and we can not see through dark clouds, and we can not see through heartaches, but I want to tell him, walk on by faith each day. On a Monday, walk on a Tuesday, walk on. Let Jesus be your God. He's able to handle the load. He can see way down the road. Walk on. Walk on. Walk on. Say yeah. Say yeah. Oh yeah. Ain't he all right? God is doing a great work. Keep your confidence in the Lord. Regardless of what the White House does, keep your confidence in the Lord. Storm clouds rise, winds blow, but keep your confidence in the Lord.
Though those, the guardhouse is open. Somebody might be here, have the confidence in themselves. And you've been dealing with it for a mighty long time. And you're still in the same condition. But we here today, according to the preacher to God's word, that you put your trust in God and put your confidence in him, everything will be all right. He will lead you every day. You can come. You can come. Maybe someone looking for a home church, you can come. Macedonia is a good place where you can get started. Oh, yes. He said in the word, come on, little Macedonia, help us. Amen. We ain't perfect. We all need help. Amen. We get there together.
And he would say,
you can come.
I got my ticket.
Thank you, deacons.
Can I ride? I've got my ticket. Can I ride? I've got my ticket. Lord, can I ride? He would say, I wanna ride away. I want to ride away. I believe the Lord's gonna let me ride. I'm gonna ride. I'm gonna ride on. I love the Lord. He heard my cry, and he pitied my every groan. Long as I live in trouble rise, I'll hasten to his throne. A charge to keep I have, and I've got a God to glorify. His Son came down, my soul to save, and he's got me fitted for the sky. I've got my ticket.
I've got my ticket.
Can I ride?
Can I ride?
I've got my ticket.
I've got my ticket.
Lord, can I ride? God gave me a ticket.
I've got my ticket.
Can I ride? Early one morning, I'm gonna take a wing. I believe I'm gonna ride. I'm gonna ride on. God's gonna let me ride.